African economies grow, so apparently do the number of beer drinkers. Some of the world's top brewers see the continent as a key market in the years ahead. But as CCTV's Guy Henderson reports, it's not just the big brands that see the opportunities.
Africa's beer market is a minnow by global standards. Each year the average drinker here downs 9 litres. In Western Europe it's 70 litres. But the bars here are getting fuller fast. And for the big brands, of course, that's good news.
There isn't a market in Africa that we wouldn't want to be in because of the extremely low per capita consumption. And because the African continent contains so much promise for the future. We have an extremely young population which is growing. GDP is growing rapidly.
The company sees sales increasing by roughly double that of continental GDP. And this is their target, lower income areas like Mozambique. Home brew consumption in places like this is thought to be 4 times the size of the formal market. Tap that and there's potentially a huge opportunity for some.
First, it would put up possibly marginally higher barriers to entry. If you're a bit more remote, getting there is difficult, staying there is difficult. The markets now are growing at a reasonable pace, and that's going to then perhaps lend strength or further entrench the incumbents.
Hey, we got 1, we got 2.
No big brands here though. The Johannesburg Craft Beer Festival in South Africa started last year. It's taken off. More than 40 microbreweries from across the country taking part. Young entrepreneurs like Sean Standeven, who's been fostering sophisticated flavours for less than a year.
It's that whole total thing of going back to beer made traditionally, made properly. Natural, proper, no chemicals, pure malted barley, water, hops, and then obviously the yeast to ferment it.
And then old hands like Moritz Kohlmeier, who's perfected his pint pouring over 15 years in the business and reckons economists are wrong about the limitations.
Mozambique has now been one of the first to introduce not only a craft whiskey festival but also a craft beer festival, and it's going to jump across borders quite fast to other parts of the world. Yes, there's already, I've been to Ethiopia recently, and where 10 years ago there was one bland lager beer, there's already an amber beer.
Even here, though, craft beer accounts for less than 0.1% of the market. As economies develop, tastes at the top end do too, but on a much smaller scale.
So there might be this huge potential in the African beer market, but up until now, it's always been dominated by just a few big brands, and it's been very difficult for some of the new brewers to break through. But with now even the likes of SAB Miller taking the approach that the more beer drinkers there are, the better, you might just start to see across the African continent a few of those new brewers taking full advantage. Guy Henderson, CCTV at the Josie Craft Beer Festival.